Welcome to Inferior Gaming, where it's easier to get lost in a video game than deal with life's problems. I'm Caitlin.
I'm Alan. That's real. That's real.
And we're recording today on Time Change Day here in North America. And we lost an hour, so if we are a little low energy or maybe like loopy, you know, because sometimes when you're overtired, you go the other direction. That's why. The good news is I never have to do this again. This is right. My province has said, no, we're done with it. We're kicking it out. We're going to change this one last weekend, and that's it. Never again.
I feel like you should have done it on the other one.
No. I prefer this one.
Oh, okay.
Because if we did it on the other one, no. The sun's staying up till 5 p.m. in December. That's going to be so nice. Oh my God.
Okay.
Like, sure, it's not going to be light until 9 a.m.
Right.
But
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But you have to get up anyways. You know, like I don't have kids. It's going to suck for people with kids who like have to get them up for school. That's going to suck. But I don't have kids. So I have to get up for work no matter what it's like outside, right? But what I don't have to do is leave my house after work if it's already pitch black. You know, like when the sun is set and you're done work and you work from home, there is no motivation to go anywhere, to do anything, nothing. So this is going to be way better for me.
Okay. Yeah, I was up at 5 this morning. 5 the time that it is now, so like 4 in my body.
Why?
Just like that stuff to do. And
like if you think about it, this is like, I don't know why I'm talking about this still. But like you spend most of the year on this time. It's like 8 months versus 4 months.
Oh, okay.
It's not.
I guess I've never thought about it. Yeah.
It's not a perfect That's 6 true. And 6. So I guess in general, this is the time people like more.
Yeah. Isn't it about farmers and stuff? I don't even know.
I think that's all a misconception. Like, you're going to be shocked when I say this, but I have randomly heard that it is actually about capitalism.
No, that doesn't sound right. But that just makes our lives better.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know the story behind that. I've never really looked into it, but I have heard that the farmers thing is apocryphal.
Okay.
That they actually don't care about getting up in the dark because that's what they do.
Yeah. Yeah, they watch the sunrise and the sunset.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So what?
Yeah, but I was going to say that's not what we're doing.
Yeah. Moving on. Transition. What are you playing this week?
I've continued to play Rue Valley, which is the like Groundhog Day time loop style game that's weird fiction, kind of looks like a comic book. And I feel like I'm getting near the end. I don't know what's going on still, but I think there's a lot of smart things in the game. I already talked about, you know, like its leveling system and stuff being tied to mental illness, but the way that it's telling its story is more through the group of characters who make up this very small town and the effect of, we were just talking about a mega huge corporation that seems to be like some blend of Amazon and Tesla's space programs being right on their doorstep. Mm-hmm. And the effect that has had on the community and all the people's lives, and is also probably causing the time loop somehow. But it tells the story through getting to know the characters. Like, you're the stranger in town, and you're always the stranger. You're always the outsider because the day is resetting. Right. It's your first day there. But you do get to know these people.
That's my nightmare.
Because it's interesting because like you don't ever, like, if you get to know somebody and then you'd be like, okay, I want to get to know this other person now, and they just don't remember that you're friends anymore, because like the whole reset. So
that's
I don't know.
Sad.
There's a sadness to it, and there's a snoopness to it too. Like, you can go and snoop in people's life, and they just never find out about it. So I don't know. It's like, if you're a curious kind of person, and they just have like really good, well-built characters, I guess, that are interesting. And so I expected, I guess, when I went into the game, that it would be all about the kind of weird fiction story of like uncovering mechanics in the story building world to solving the problem, but it doesn't care about that very much. It cares about the people and the story. Right. So that was a gratifying twist on that whole thing, I think. And then the other thing I've been doing, I got back into Persona 5 Royal.
Yay.
Yeah, and just going into the second main antagonist's Mind Palace, which is like a big art museum. He's like a painter guy, and he seems like a scumbag who is ripping off his students and passing off their work as his work. And the countdown is that if we don't get things figured out, then Anne is going to have to pose nude for a painting, which is a weird...
yeah, some of the countdowns work better than the others.
Countdown. Yeah, it's a weird countdown. You just say no. Like, if they're like, oh no, this will definitely happen. I'm like, why? Why would it happen? If you don't want to do it, you just say no.
Or you don't show up. Works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, some countdowns make more sense than others. Like, why is there even like a specific date in the future? Why not right now? Like, whatever.
Right, yeah, exactly. Is like, yeah, yeah, exactly. It's gonna happen in 2 weeks.
You just gotta suspend your disbelief a little bit.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't care. But she is very worried about it, and I'm like, I don't understand why you're worried. It's fine. Yeah, so it's good. It's just, grinding in the palace, and I don't have, like, my core team is still the same. Every once in a while I see another character who will probably join the team, but nobody else has joined up or anything, and so I'm just
really
working my way towards... I'm very slow.
The painter guy hasn't joined up?
No, he seems like that's kind of what I mean. Like, we talked to him and I'm like, okay, you seem like you're gonna join our team, but he's very hostile and everybody doesn't like him.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, he's great.
He gets in everybody's face and is like, you better do this or else. And it's like, okay, man. And then we all talk on our phone about him and like, what a jerk.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That doesn't change when he's your friend. He's always kind of a jerk. That's that game's resident Matthew Mercer.
Oh, okay. I didn't recognize his voice. Okay. But yeah, he seemed, you can kind of tell. It's like when I play a Final Fantasy game and somebody shows up and you're like, oh, you look like you were designed. You know what I mean? Yep. Like you don't fit in with everybody else.
I had a moment like that in Metaphor where there was like this really small like side character who was, we talked to twice, but they were so over the top designed. And then eventually they were a boss fight. And I was like, yes, of course.
Yeah.
I should have known.
Yeah. I think the game wants me to feel like he's a stealth antagonist in exactly the kind of way that you're saying. But I've never bought it. As soon as I met him, I was like, oh, you're part of the team.
Oh, he just reminds me so much of like an anime character that I was like, no, he's definitely part of the team.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, exactly.
There's always that one friend that like you keep around, like in anime, not in real life, but nobody seems to actually like him.
Yeah,
and they're always a jerk.
He's like a temperamental, he's kind of perfect. He's like a temperamental artist who's like, he's thorny and it's fine.
Yeah.
I think he's a well-drawn character. Not like, in his design, that's fine too, but I just mean that like you just instantly kind of get a feel for, oh, it's this guy, like you said. And so I was like, oh yeah, you're part of the team. And then he was like, I'm your enemy, and I was like, okay, bye. Sure. So yeah, I'm just waiting for that kind of stuff to resolve, and I think I'm only going through the palace for the first time, and there's like a subway system thing. I went as far as I could into that, like I explored every nook and cranny, but you can't like
in Memento
really do it until you got to do this other thing first. So I've just been grinding a lot. I have like, I don't know, like 70,000 yen or something like that. I should go and upgrade my gear and stuff like that. Like I'm gonna finish out as much as the palace as I can and then go back into the world and do some hanging out with people. And I think my grade came in for the first part of the game.
This game is so wild.
I know. It was like above average. I guess it's like a B. So I was like, okay, well, that's good. I guess. I don't know.
I will say that palace introduces a thing with a locked door.
Oh, yeah, I just did that.
Oh, you just did that? Okay, great. Because if you leave that palace till the last minute, you fucked yourself.
Oh. No. They keep I could kind of tell because I wasn't doing it. Like, I went and ate the burger for the first time, which was cute, and did some other stuff, and everybody kept calling me and being like, we got to go do the palace. And I was like, okay, Jesus Christ. Like, let's go do the palace. And then we triggered a trapdoor thing.
See, so. I thought new guy joined the team before that.
I don't know. Maybe it's a different thing, what you're talking about than what I'm talking about. So
yeah, who knows? Anyways, or it's been a while since I played, so maybe I'm just remembering it incorrectly. Anyways, I finished 3 houses.
Okay, yeah.
Which is really, really... Well, okay, I finished my Golden Deer run. I'm not going to do any of the other runs, but I didn't finish the game. And I realized when I finished it that I haven't actually really talked about what the game is very much. I've just been playing it. So a brief sort of sum up is that, like, through a set of circumstances, you become a professor at an officer's academy where they train soldiers, I guess. Some in physical, like swords and spears and stuff, and some in magic.
Yep.
And you have to choose which of the 3 like classes you're going to be a professor for. And each class is kind of made up of people from one of the 3 countries on this continent. And through storytelling, it's very clear through like some of the mock battles that you have between the 3 classes and stuff that eventually these 3 countries are going to be at war. And you're going to be killing these people that you went to school with, you know?
You're training your rival, yeah.
So you choose your house and you stick with them. And whatever house you choose, the first half of the game plays out relatively similarly. There are some changes, especially if you choose the Black Eagles. Yeah, the Black Eagles. There are some differences, but the second half of the game, after the 5-year time skip, completely different, depending on what house you chose. And because that's when the countries are at war, and you really... And so, yeah, depending on what side of the war you're on, things are different, obviously.
You start out as a teacher?
Yeah.
Or you... Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I would think you'd start out as one of the students and then...
No. You're a teacher.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, it is.
And then do you have to be like, oh, man, now I have to go kill my students? My former students? I mean, they're not students anymore, but...
100%, yeah. And in the first half of the game, you can recruit other students to your class, which then means for most of them, not all of them, that they will be on your team in the second half, that they will come find you. But you can't recruit all of them, and like some just are unrecruitable, and some, like, it's next to impossible, especially on your first playthrough of the game, to get them all. So no matter what, you are going to be killing some students. And in the first half of the game, you can have like story moments with them. They're called supports in Fire Emblem, but in they're like social links in Persona. So you can really get to know these kids and then have to kill them in the second half of the game. And then if you've recruited people from their house and go talk to them after you killed those people, they're like, oh my god, we just killed such and such. Like, what is happening?
So this is like the dream of teachers, right? This is what they want. It's like, I want a simulator where I can kill these kids, right? Yeah.
I think that's the opposite of what makes a good teacher, but yeah.
Yeah.
And what I really like about Three Houses, or what I think is extremely well done, and you see so seldom in video games, is that it is a story that could only be told in a video game.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Because you do not get the whole story unless you play all 3 routes. And the story is really about how you, as this influential presence, and there is an in-game reason for you to be special, how you change things depending on who you're allied with, and how you affect the people, both like in a personal situation, and how having your connection to the bigger thing that's going on, how that changes things also. So you don't get the whole story unless you play all 3. And
That's
a half,
super
3 and a half,
cool.
because one of them you can go 2 different routes with.
Yeah, and it kind of acknowledges the role that the teacher, like the amount of influence they can have on it. But that also, I think simultaneously, I don't know anything about the game, but it sounds to me like simultaneously it kind of acknowledges how we are made by the systems around us, especially like the influence it has on us when we're young.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So like,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And each house kind of shows the theme of the game in a different way. Like there's a lot about how class systems really just fuck everyone up. Because each class has to a degree, a mix of nobles and commoners. And it depends, like, different countries have a different mix. Like, if you're in the Black Eagles, that's almost all nobles. If you're in the Blue Lions, that's kind of half and half. And if you're in the Golden Deers, that's mostly commoners. And you really see how their lives have been affected by their class. And always for ill, you know? Like, nobody is any, like, just the presence of the different classes have really just messed up their whole world. And, yeah, it's a really interesting game, and I like it a lot.
Is it the conflict based on class warfare? Like the peasants are uprising, or like there's like a totally different thing happening?
See, it's never that. The war part of it starts because one of the so each class has like a head of the class, not the teacher.
Yeah.
And in one of them, like in the Black Eagles, the head is the person who's going to be the next emperor of that country. And in the Blue Lions, it's the guy who's going to be the next king of that country. And in the Golden Deer, it's the Golden Deer house is from a country that is made up. The governing is like a council of nobles. So there isn't like one king, but there is a guy who's going to be the leader, right?
Parliament. Yeah. It's like the High Chancellor or something like that. Yeah.
And so one of these people, it's really clear which class is the bad guys when you start. FYI, but anyways, one of these people decides for reasons that all this is wrong, and she basically just wants to kill the world and start again. That's kind of her plan or kill the nobles, I guess. She wants to kill them all and then start again. But she is a noble, you know?
Okay.
It's not a commoner uprising. It's the new emperor deciding, no, the only way to stop all of this is to kill all the nobles.
Interesting.
There's more going
like an
on
enlightened, there. Yeah, but that's usually how change actually happens in history, is you have some kind of enlightened ruler who like tries to affect change, and like who knows if, you know, like Alexander the Great, for example, you know, like who is taught that like, oh, you should be a philosopher king. Or you have like Akhenaten, you know, in ancient Egypt or something, who's like, oh, we need to worship a different god. And then, things can change quite a bit. That's
a big part in this also. Like, I haven't really mentioned it, but the school is attached to a monastery that the church runs, obviously. And so the church kind of runs the school, and the church kind of runs the continent, really. And that's a big factor in what's going on also.
Yeah. Interesting.
So if anybody out there hasn't played it, my personal recommendation for picking it up is to play the Blue Lions, then the Black Eagles, then the Golden Deer. Oh, but when you play the Black Eagles, look up how to not side with the church. Stay being the bad guys.
So did you play all of them?
I haven't played the Blue Lions.
Okay.
The reason that I didn't, my original thought on picking it up again was to play the Blue Lion route, because that's the only one I haven't done. But that is the one where you find out the least amount of what is actually going on in the world, like with the church and that story. You have the least amount of involvement in that, because that one is very much about the characters and the team and like the family that is kind of formed there. And the house leader in that one really fucking loses it. Like, he just goes off the deep end. And your post-time skip is really about trying to reach him and bring him back. And And
character driven,
yes,
like you said.
It's very character driven. So that's why I didn't do that one, because I had wanted to refresh my mind about what was happening with all that stuff. And the one where you find out the most about that is the Golden Deer run. Because the Golden Deer one is the one where you're least involved in the war. You get involved in the war because you're like, well, after she defeats the kingdom, she's obviously going to look towards us next, so we got to cut that off. It's not because you're the ones actually at war.
And then you romanced someone different than your first playthrough?
The first playthrough I romanced in Golden Deer, I romanced the head of the house, Claude, because he's kind of like the charming rogue prince guy, and he's and he's a bit of a schemer, and that's like my favorite character ever. Right. And it was really hard not to romance him again.
It reminds me of the prince guy in Shadow and Bone.
Yes, exactly. That is exactly who he is. 100%.
That's fun.
And it was really hard, especially, well, I won't get into it, but I decided to go with the other adult man throughout the story. Thank God there's a time skip, right? Anyways, and his name is Sedith, and he is part of the church. And that one's nice because he's immortal, and the game kind of implies that you're immortal too, probably. Mm-hmm. You find out very little about yourself, really. Well, no, you do find out a lot about yourself, but it's complicated.
But all that to say that, like, in the long run, you could, like, you wouldn't have to watch your partner die.
Yeah, that was my thinking there.
Be without them for thousands of years or something.
And I tried really, really hard to get certain other people together, and only one of them actually worked out. All the other, I don't know what was happening. Everyone else just, it seemed random. I was like, why? Why did this happen? Well, whatever.
So, okay. So there are other couplings happening. It's not the game.
Yeah, the epilogue
definitely has people get together.
Game is the best part. Well, not the best part, but like the shipping and the epilogue and like who ends up with who. That's everyone's favorite stuff in a Fire Emblem game, really. Politics, whatever. Tactics, battles, who cares? Who ends up with who? Yeah.
It sounds like you can affect a lot of stuff in the story.
You can.
So like the ending, I wonder how you would, because the sequel, well, it's not a sequel. There's a new Fire Emblem coming out, and it's sequel-ish or sequel adjacent, but it sounds like a real different ending.
The only thing we know is that it's in the same world? Because we see a character who was in the first one, or who's in Three Houses, and we see items, and I don't know how to describe it if you haven't played the game, but we see certain types of weapons that are very tied to the mythology of the world.
Okay. Yeah, it's weird.
So it could
either you do a massive time skip or
it happens before.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you're kind of locked into, it can't have these contingent endings, so it's going to be a different kind of game.
Well, it could be on a different continent.
Okay.
Right. Like or
that kind of thing.
And so
sure.
Part of the story in Three Houses is that Fodlan, the continent that you're on, has really cut itself off from the rest of the world, and just sort of thinks of everybody outside of this continent as being, like, they're just very racist kind of thoughts. Like, everyone out there is bad and everyone in here is good.
Yeah, they're barbarians.
Except that it might be the opposite because of stuff. Like, when you're going through Three Houses, it becomes very clear that something happened 1,000 years ago, and the people before that had better technology. So it genuinely could be the opposite. We really have no idea.
Sounds like Europe. in medieval, you know what I mean? There was the Roman Empire and we had paved roads, and now like those people over there are everybody's bad except for us. Because we believe in the one true God.
In Golden Deer, this is definitely not true in Blue Lions, and I'm not sure about Black Eagles. I don't remember. It's been so long. But in Golden Deer, your final fight looks like a Tron board. I don't like. There's lights. And,
like the grid.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's really, and you don't find out too much about it, and it's
weird.
Yeah.
So like way advanced technology.
Yes.
Not like
at one point, magic. It's magic based, but it's basically a missile hits this fort that you took over and blows it up.
Yeah, that's always my favorite thing. I think because I grew up in the time of like just after post Star Wars, and so like a lot of kids media in that time was that like He-Man and the Masters of the Universe is like the thing that I'm really thinking of, where the hero is like a barbarian with a sword, but then they ride on, you know, like spacecraft and hoverboards and stuff. They have laser guns and shit like that.
Yeah.
That's like, that mix is like, I love that stuff. The original Final Fantasy is like that, where you like go to you don't know what's happening, but you like go to a in orbit satellite facility, like a space station, and there's like fucking robots up there and stuff. And you're like, what is happening? Yeah, it's weird. And there's like lost technology all over the world and stuff in the original Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
And then they all do that though. All of them have shit like that in there. I love that stuff.
Yeah. I also enjoy it. And that's Three Houses. I'm really excited for the new one to figure out if it's a sequel, prequel, just like same situation, different universe, you know, type of thing, and if it's going to be like the different story, you know, if you're going to be able to choose one of the protagonists the trailer introduced us to, and that type of thing. I'm really interested in it, and we don't have a release date yet. Yay! Hopefully,
yeah. I mean, that's Nintendo. I feel like when Nintendo says they'll do stuff, they do it though. You know, like it happens.
Yeah, we know it's going to be this year, and I get the feeling so far from this year that they are like it's a Switch 2 exclusive, and they aren't going to fuck that up. You know, like they are really trying. Last year, the Switch 2 came out, and they were like, "Yeah, please buy." But this year, they're like, Switch 2, Switch 2, Switch 2. Yeah,
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is smart. And then I did play a little bit more of Final Fantasy VII, but I didn't have much time with it. So I basically just did some grinding because I didn't want to get involved in the next story beat. Because despite
you're still in Midgar.
Yeah. Because despite this being like the remaster or whatever, they don't seem to have added the ability to save anywhere, so you still need to find save points.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just did some grinding, and that was fun. I'm looking forward to spending some more time with it this week. And then I started playing this like post-apocalyptic, like all the humans are dead, and there's just these weird animals left behind to rebuild the world. And that is Pokemon Pokopia.
Pokopia.
And you might think that I am exaggerating this. But literally,
finally,
you're finding all these notes around the world that are like, went for a last walk, you know, before we went away, and blah, blah, and all these things. And it's like, are all the humans dead? Like, what is happening?
Maybe it's like the rapture or something.
Something happened, and I'm really interested. Like, it's crazy. Anyways, it's so fun and cute. And weirdly kind of sad and disturbing with the humans all being dead. Or
That's
gone,
weird.
or whatever. Crazy.
Why would Mimic care to look like a human then? Like,
well, Pokemon, like, story, world building, I don't know, is that the Pokemon love having their human trainers, their human partners.
Okay.
That they genuinely
that
like them. And
right, yeah. You're right. That makes sense.
And so Ditto wanted to look like their human trainer.
Right. Oh, Ditto, not Mimic. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I've never really played a Pokemon game. Like, even though I'm old enough, I just missed that whole boat because I never had a Game Boy when I was young, and they were only on Game Boy for a while. And then by the time I could get a Game Boy, it was just like had passed me by. Like the card game, all of it. I watched the cartoon, but I just never got into the games.
I can't believe you just called an anime a cartoon.
Oh, sorry.
Somebody out there fainted.
You know, that really does feel more like a cartoon to me than an anime, to be honest.
The way it's designed in Japan does sort of also fulfill the the Western Saturday morning cartoon thing.
Right.
So yeah, I understand where you're coming from. But that's kind of my story too. I never really got into the games. Even like my sister's very into the games, so I've seen a lot of them. We own a lot of them on the DS and on the Switch. Mm-hmm. But I don't care to play a game where your only goal is to fight more.
Yeah.
And collect them all like that. I need a story. I need a reason to be fighting. And other than I want to be the very best, like that doesn't interest me. I did watch the anime and I really enjoyed it as a young person. So that's where most of my knowledge about Pokemon comes from. And I do
100%
think,
mine too. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think Detective Pikachu is the best movie made from a video game ever.
Interesting. It is really good. It was a lot of fun.
Like it's not hard to reach that. You know, like best movie, like I'm not saying it's got steep competition.
About that. There's some okay ones. I watch almost every video game movie when it comes to. I love video game movies. I have a real soft
but you
spot
enjoy bad things.
I don't know. I guess I don't think of things as good or bad, and so like
I do.
That's literally part of my religion is to not think of things as good and bad.
That's
so
fair,
like
I guess.
I just take things as they are, and I just really enjoy how this very weird medium over here of video games tries to fit into this other very weird medium of movies. And you just get the weirdest shit when that happens, that it's just really interesting. But yeah, Detective Pikachu is adorable. It's so good. It's a really fun movie.
Obviously I love Psyduck. I've always loved Psyduck. He was such a character in the anime.
Yeah.
And he just really stuck with me, and I'm like so close to getting him in Pokopia. All genders, of course, are just based on vibes. I don't know. It never comes up in the game, you know. Or in
I'm
Pokopia
sure people
in
have
particular.
like, how do Pokemon reproduce?
Oh no, there are male and female
Bulbasaurs?
ones in the mainline games.
Okay.
But I just mean in particular in Pokopia, I'm just like choosing.
Yep.
Anyways, I'm having a lot of fun. Bulbasaur is also extremely adorable. They're all so cute, and they're just like, I just want a nice house with a bed. And I'm like, I can make you a nice house with a bed. And some of them are like, I want to chop. And I'm like, here's some wood, please chop. Yeah. Like, oh.
So it's like Animal Crossing, kind of.
It's like Animal Crossing mixed with Minecraft.
Okay. Yep. I've seen a lot of people saying, like, I'm really grateful for this game. It is what I have wanted, like a kind of evolution of Pokemon that the main, I'm not remembering the name of the studio, main Pokemon studio has not been delivering. Like, they've just been reiterating. And I think a lot of the fans in that world are, like, tired of it. And they seem to be responding well to this game.
That is the thing about the mainline Pokemon games. And I kind of understand, like, where Game Freak is coming from. Like, why mess with a good thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why change it up? You know what I'm saying? They have huge sales. I mean, their game sales are not how they make their money. Like, they make insane numbers on their games, and it is the smallest avenue of revenue.
Oh yeah, I mean they're huge, but yeah, Pokemon is it's the biggest thing.
It literally it is the biggest singular IP that exists in the world.
Right.
It is the best selling, and that's all like toys and cards, and the games are also there. Like the games make money, obviously, but it's the toys and the cards that are their big money maker. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, from my personal way of thinking, you'd think that means that they could experiment with the games a lot, but they don't.
That's really what I would think. Yeah.
Their mainline games are all kind of the same. You're just a person who wants to be the very best.
Right. Yeah.
You know, who wants to be a gym leader, of the biggest gym.
Go up the rank and
go up the
all
ranks,
that stuff.
Yeah. And there's no voice acting and there's no plot. And you know, I don't know. Their graphics have evolved, not as much as one might hope, you could say, in a lot of the games. But it feels like they haven't evolved in any other way. And even when I hear people talk about this game, I mostly hear them saying that it feels like a very evolved Animal Crossing, not like an evolved Pokemon game, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of evolved too much for me. It is so big. It's overwhelming how much there is to do in this game. And I understand you're not supposed to finish it in like 3 weeks. You know, you're supposed to work at it over a year or two. But it is overwhelming how much there is. Oh my God.
It's got a day-night cycle and stuff like Animal Crossing.
Yes, it's tied to real time.
Yeah. Uh-huh. It does like have well, I guess you wouldn't know yet, but like festivals and stuff like that, like times of year, or
we don't know.
Like Animal Crossing did.
There is like a timed event happening soon where there are some Pokemon that you can get that you cannot get otherwise.
Okay.
So
does it feel
fun.
like live servicey to you, or that's just how the game is? Like Animal Crossing is that way, so this is how this is. You know what I mean? Like, oh, there's gotcha drops, and it only for 3 weeks are you going to be able to get this, and
like there is that, but it's not microtransactions.
Okay.
So I don't mind that if it's not microtransactions.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's the game, and really, I'd rather be playing that than talking to you or anyone. And it's been 40 minutes of recording now. So,
it's crazy on what you're playing, yeah.
So I told you I was going to talk about a lot of stuff. Before recording, I told you. Anyways, so we better move on to our main topic now, which is just a really simple, short, easy one, so we won't be here very long.
Yep.
What makes an RPG?
What? Yeah.
Simple question.
Easy answer.
RPG as genre. Let's talk about it. You and I both love it. It is my preferred genre of video game, despite what I just said about Pokopia and how much I'm loving it. I didn't even go...
So that's not an RPG. So is what you're saying when you say that?
I could make an argument for it, but I feel like most people would shoot me down. But like you do have character creation, you know? You are choosing your hairstyle and your outfit. You are playing through a story and you get to choose what you work on, and you're trying to at least I am trying to find out the lore of this world to see what happened to everyone. Where did all the humans and Pokemon go? Why are we having to work so hard to bring the Pokemon back? Are we going to bring the humans back? I don't want to bring the humans back. I like it just being a Pokemon world. It's so cute that way. But I don't know.
It's always bothered me that like humans eat animals in the Pokemon world. Yes. You know, like we eat animals, but then are they eating the Pokemon?
They are,
like
100%.
It's messed up, man. They can talk. Like that's not okay.
They can't talk to the humans.
Yeah, but they say their name. Like it's bad. Don't eat things that can say their own name. I don't know.
I mean, but arguably their name is what they say. You know, we don't know.
They're not naming themselves per se. Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of people, and I think this is probably true, just say that role-playing game as such is like maybe outdated for where we're at in video games and is not a super useful term. It's like too broad.
Yeah, that's why there's 10 million subgenres.
Right. Yeah. It was like a thing, 30, 40 years ago, but maybe now, because you could say like, okay, right there in the name, you're playing a role. Well, all right. But like every sports game you pick up, you have a character creation and you up your stats and you have a goal and you could, frame it as a story. You take your team from zero to hero. Yeah. Like, is that a role-playing game?
Arguably, every single game is a role-playing game if you use your imagination. Exactly. Right?
So, like, that's not useful. If it applies to everything, that's bad. So you gotta come up with something else. For me, I look at it as like, what's the tradition of the genre to try and figure it out, because that's kind of what genre is. Yeah. Is a tradition. And, like the first RPGs in video games were basically taking the math from D&D systems and putting them into computers, because computers are really good at math, or they used to be, before AI, and then having it do the math calculations for you, the dice rolls and whatnot, when you fight monsters. And then you just kind of like lay a story on top of that. So you get stuff like The Dungeon in 1975, which is like shareware or whatever. And then the Wizardry series in 1981, which if you ever look at that game is like Kingsfield or whatever on the PlayStation. And it looks a lot like Dragon Quest because it like massively influenced Ultima, which is basically where where Dragon Quest gets all of its ideas from Ultima. And so like the games that we like, Final Fantasy, are just like directly descended from Wizardry basically. And it's just D&D, like you get HP, armor, your hit points and all of that stuff. Like how hard do you hit and blah, 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 and stats.
It is really wild to have grown up playing Final Fantasy and then discover D&D just because of the numbers difference. Like in Final Fantasy, you can hit for like 10,000 sometimes. In D&D, the biggest hit I've ever seen is like 100-ish.
100, yeah.
So like
they kind of start you out there.
I remember the first time I saw somebody play D&D, they hit for like 7 damage, and I was like, "What?"
But the total HP is like
is way different. Yeah,
30 or something like that. Yeah. I think there's a Simpsons video game that was pretty good. I can't remember which one this was, but they had like a part of it where it turns into a JRPG, and they literally do the like meaningless level progression in like one fight. So you start out at level 1 and you're hitting for like 2 points, and then it like ramps it up to 99 within a minute, and you're hitting for like 9,999 over and over.
Nice.
And it just doesn't mean anything, because like if your health points go up to the same proportion, it just doesn't, you might as well be only hitting for 7. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just looks cooler that it's 1,000 or something, whatever. Do you think that kind of math and the progression and levels and stuff are necessary for an RPG as such? Like, if it doesn't have levels?
Until relatively recently, I would have said yes. But there are games like Disco Elysium, which have none of that. And that is definitely an RPG.
Is it because it has a story?
Disco Elysium is like a social RPG. Or not social. That's not right. I haven't played it. I just know about it. So I can't explain very well. But I know there's no fighting. It's just what you choose to do affects the city and the story and stuff.
Like the thing that I'm playing now, the Rue Valley, which I think is related to Disco Elysium.
Right.
It says directly this is a role-playing game, and that whole thing of picking the stats at the beginning to determine your mental illness is like the part of it that decides your role. But I don't feel like it's a role-playing game when I'm playing it. It feels like a time loop game. I've played other time loop games, and it does the same things as those games. You just have these stats also. And so, but the developer feels like it is because of the stats. And I feel like a lot of times when reviews happen, I'll see like the reviewer say it's blah, 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 blah game with RPG elements for your character. And so I think a lot of people associate that D&D stat building stuff with role-playing games. That's like a core part of the role-playing game experience.
I did also forget that in D&D and probably Disco Elysium and that sort of stuff, your stats are not all based on fighting, right? You can have your charm, your persuasion. Well, persuasion is a subset of charm. And all
agility,
that sort of thing. Yeah.
And stuff, yeah.
So,
that's not necessarily, fighting.
And the thing about D&D is if you're playing it in a certain way, most, if not all, of your fighting you could get out of if you rolled well on a conversation type of thing.
Yeah. Or like some other, like we hide really well. Or
yeah. So there's more than one way to approach that type of role playing. I don't know if I just said anything new in the conversation, genuinely.
I know, I think that's right, because a lot of these early role-playing games took the math from the fighting part of D&D, which is like the most complex part of like if you look at like early D&D, the handbooks and stuff, a lot of the space in those books is here's how fights work.
Yeah.
Right. And they take all the math from that and put it into the computer. And I think for a long time, people did feel like role-playing game equals exploration of a dungeon plus this math fighting,
Yeah.
that, and it's only later. So like, I think of Deus Ex series, which is like a cyberpunk series, but it was one of the first things, and those were on PC, where you had charisma stats like you're talking about, and you could get out of any situation by talking. I think like the final boss in that game, you can like charisma through you don't even have to fight him,
Yeah.
So that was like a different, but it's still role playing, right? Because it gets at a different part of the experience that wasn't accessible because of processing power back in the 70s and 80s of the computers that regular people had access to.
Right. I do think Baldur's Gate 3 shows that really well. I haven't played the first two Baldur's Gate games, so I don't know how they were. But like you do roll on a lot of your conversational stuff too in Baldur's Gate 3. So it feels like that was kind of the culmination of all these years of trying to make Dungeons and Dragons into a video game. And Baldur's Gate 3 seems to have gotten as close as possible.
And KOTOR, I remember the first time I played that was the first game I ever played where I was so baffled by this because I had just never even heard of such a thing. Mm-hmm. You would talk to somebody and then it would, like not all of it is voice acted.
Yeah.
And so there's reading and there's kind of like a scrolling conversation screen, and it would be like you say something and then they say something and then you choose what you're going to say. And then in the screen, it would say like failed dice roll. And I was like, what dice roll? What do you mean? And then like, you would not say the thing that I chose. It would say something else. And then it would be like, the conversation would go bad. And I'm like, but I didn't say that. Because I didn't understand like what it was doing.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I guess my first, I've played real life Dungeons and Dragons. I've played less video games like Dungeons and Dragons, if that makes any sense. My first encounter with anything like that would be like in Mass Effect when some dialogue options are just grayed out for you. Like you just can't say it, but you can see it and you can tell that would be the better option.
Right. Right. I think that's a better way than the KOTOR thing, because it was like, that was really confusing to have the option and then have it not work. But I guess it's also like more, I don't know, like it's like you took a gamble, and it just didn't work out. But yeah, to have it locked off in the Mass Effect thing, it just always made sense to me that it was like, oh, I'm just not that. And shepherd, like I just can't do that.
Yeah, I don't remember if Dragon Age ever had anything like that. I don't think so. There were things you could say if you were an elf, or that sort of thing. But I think it just didn't show the other options.
Yeah, it's the opposite. I feel like in Dragon Age, where it's like new options emerge because of who and what you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, KOTOR was weird. It was constantly telling you dice rolls. I think you can turn that off in the more updated versions, but it like all through the battles, it was like, you rolled a 20. And I was like, what are you even talking about? Like, I'm just shooting my gun. Like, what are you talking about?
That would be annoying in a shooter. Oh my God.
It's not a shooter at all. You target the thing and you have a gun and you say like, shoot. And just every couple of seconds they shoot.
But isn't this like don't you have like real time lightsaber battles? I know nothing about this. Oh.
No, you target them. You're like, I have a lightsaber. And they're like, I have a lightsaber. And you're like, fight. And then you don't do anything. Like they just start like, you know what I mean? Like they just do it.
Like
and then
turn-based or real time
it's just
with
dice
pause?
rolls. No, you just see dice rolls happening. You're like, and they got a 16 and you got a 4. And then numbers start falling out of your character like blood. And vice versa. And that's how KOTOR is.
This is wild to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. that was my first experience with I was like, oh, this is D&D, I guess. I don't know. Because my first
that is,
role-playing game,
numbers bleed out of you. That is D&D, 100%.
Yeah. I played Final Fantasy 1, and it's the same thing. Like, numbers jump out of monsters when you hit them. So I was like, yeah, I get it. Okay. But it was just weird for it to tell me the dice rolls, as if, like, because there's dice rolls happening in Final Fantasy 1. I just don't know about it because the game
that's true. That's true.
Isn't saying it, you know? So it would say, you know, every once in a while, you critical hit, and you'd like hit them extra super hard, and that was cool. But I don't know. KOTOR felt to me like they were like, look, we're not cheating. Like, look, here's how it went. And I'm like, I don't care. But it was confusing to be like, I saw him get shot in the chest with a laser and he's fine, you know, because it rolled a 2 and he rolled a 11 or something. So
I was going to say that
the animations are weird.
That this sounds more like a CRPG, but like it's BioWare. It's early BioWare, so of course it sounds more like a CRPG.
Yeah.
I was just thinking
So what's
of
the
it.
distinction? What's the C there?
The C stands for computer, but it's come to mean, because obviously everything is on the computer now, basically. It's come to mean like that isometric, like Baldur's Gate 3 and what's the one that I like?
Oh, like the Avowed universe.
Yes, the Avowed universe.
Yeah. I can't think of the name.
I literally looked it up earlier today. Pillars of Eternity. Kind of similar to how Dragon Age 1 is very close to being a CRPG, more so on its computer version than its console version. Which are so different. Oh my god. Gameplay wise, story wise, obviously the same. Yeah, so it's come to mean more like moving like a dungeon, more obviously Dungeons and Dragons inspired RPG. Although sometimes those are also just called isometric RPGs.
Well, it's like Mass Effect 2, right? Like in that, you are like aiming and shooting, and where you hit really matters. Like you get a headshot versus a body shot and things like that. And that feels skills based on the player and not like dice rolls. And so it's more of an action RPG, which is probably what in modern gaming, I probably lean more towards action RPGs than I do anything else these days, just because I think the fidelity of control has gotten so good on those that it is like I can bring skill to it that makes it feel more satisfying for me as a player than to have these dice rolls controlling the outcomes.
See,
because I think oh, go ahead.
I much prefer turn-based. I will play action RPGs. I play a lot of them, and I have a good time. But I much prefer turn-based.
I think in D&D, I mean, I've never played D&D. I've sat in on sessions and listened to live play and stuff. But it seems to me like the fun of D&D, and this probably varies from person to person, but the fun is in, you know, the dice rolls that have to do with role playing. Like, I am so-and-so, and I'm going to use my personality to solve this problem. You know what I mean? And like that is hard to do in a video game.
Yes. Yeah, very. To come up with the interesting sort of different approaches to things. Yeah.
Yeah. And when there's dice rolls in a game determining the outcome, it's almost always how hard does my sword guy hit the monster guy, you know, and then not like, how does this conversation with this person, like that's more interesting to me. I would rather play the conversation dice roll game than the I'm fighting you. Like if I'm going to fight things, I would like to be in control of the fight as the player and not the dice. But if it's a conversation thing, that's more interesting, that there's an element of chance that I, you know, have less control over, I guess.
Right.
And just kind of follow the thread.
Again, Baldur's Gate 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I keep waiting for it to be less than $50, please.
Yeah. Like, which is interesting just because I bounced off Baldur's Gate 3 so hard. Right? Yeah. And everything about that game seems like it should be catered to me in particular, but I was just like, it's not for me at all.
That's weird.
It is very strange.
Because there's everything in that game, isn't there? There's like romance and there's a D&D world and fantasy stuff. And
Yep. I don't know, man. Sometimes I guess I just rolled a 1, you know? Like, sometime when it's like super on sale or something, I'll try again, maybe. I mean, we still have it on the PS5. I just don't use the PS5 that often. So
do you feel like something like Kingdom Hearts, that's a role-playing game for sure?
Yeah, because I'm playing Sora. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Character creation is not that important to me. I know some people out there who really feel like the more control you have, the more it is an RPG, if that makes any sense. Like that you have to have character creation and you have to be able to influence the story. But like, my entire background with RPGs is JRPGs, right? It's just JRPGs, playing through a story. And that, to me, so I don't mind when they take away choices.
And that is where there's like a pre-built story, pre-built characters, and all of the D&D math is just fighting math, and it's not like story math for the most part.
I actually really enjoyed how... Yeah, this is a shock. We've never talked about how much we liked this game before. How Expedition 33 did it.
Right. Yeah.
Where it was that. It was just like a linear, more or less, like obviously there's side quests, whatever, linear story until the end where you had that one big choice.
Yeah. No, I think that's a powerful way to do it because when you get to that choice, you really understand who those people are.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, fuck. Like... And you're not like, and it wasn't as if you played one or the other. You've been playing everyone this whole time and really understand all of the relationships. And to make that choice at all is heartbreaking, whether or not you like agree with one side or the other.
Both choices kind of suck.
Yeah, it hurts. And they know that. Like, that's the point of that choice, is to hurt you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you can't do that if it's a character that you made from scratch and just all your choices are blah, 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 because you're just going to choose yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like
I'm not saying that one is better than the other. I'm saying one is more for me. Like the more types of stories we have in the world, the better. I'm glad that so many, Baldur's Gate 3 got so many people into RPGs and into gaming in general, and so many people love it. So I'm so happy it exists for them. You know, like genuinely, I'm not just saying that, but it just, I'm upset that it wasn't for me, you know, because I feel like I really could have lost myself in that game a lot.
Yeah. But I think you're also saying that Expedition 33 is as much an RPG as Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Just a different type.
Despite not having a character creation and a huge amount of choices and paths throughout, for having one path, it's still, so I don't know, like, does an RPG have to have a story, to be an RPG?
That's interesting because this is all made up shit, right? They're just games, right? None of this really matters. And so in my personal opinion, Souls-likes are JRPGs. And I feel that...
I agree with that.
I feel that way just because I think it would piss people off. Or piss a certain type of people
there's
off.
a lot of people who think that. Yeah.
Because they're made in Japan and they're RPGs. And I get that JRPG has become more of a trope-based sort of genre thing because,
with turn-based.
Yeah. Because Japan has, doesn't just make Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest anymore. There's a lot going on. But I don't know, if we're gonna call a genre based on region, then I guess it's all that,
I think the sensibility, I do think of them as JRPGs because the sensibilities around them are so resonant with other JRPGs that I've played, and I think that's just cultural, so it probably is appropriate to call it a JRPG because it just doesn't think in Western terms, if that makes sense. Like, the logic of the game is not Western.
Also, for a long time, I just kind of assumed the studio FromSoft was created by people who left Squaresoft. You know,
I don't think that's true.
It's not. I looked it up. They existed alongside each other. Like, no.
Yeah, or for a long time.
Yeah. Not at all.
That's funny.
But before I had looked up the history of FromSoft, I was like, that just made sense in my brain. They left Squaresoft and they called themselves FromSoft.
Yeah. I think that guy, he was directly inspired by the Final Fantasy series, though.
Which is funny, because, like...
in a lot of ways.
I love how the JRPG... You know, that story about how JRPG devs were kind of insulted when they learned that we called their games JRPGs. Because they were like, but we were inspired by you guys. Like, we're making your games.
Yeah. We love Ultima, and we made Ultima.
Yeah.
It's like, no. You're in a ghetto called JRPGs. Yeah. But I don't know, for me, or probably for you too, like, I prefer JRPG because it was like as opposed to Western RPGs, I was like, no, I don't want that. I want this thing over here instead. That I just felt more comfortable in those worlds, for whatever reason, probably because it had the predefined story, like you're saying.
Yeah. Western RPGs didn't even really come into my orbit at all until Dragon Age, until my friend made me play Dragon Age. Yeah. Like, It's not that I said, no, I don't want that. It's that I thought Western games were FPS, racing, and sports. And I thought RPGs were Japanese. That's just what it was. And then when my friend convinced me to play Dragon Age, I actually found that my sister owned all of these RPGs, all of these Western RPGs.
These other things.
Yeah, so I didn't have to buy anything. I was just like, ooh.
Yeah, I think I played Elder Scrolls, and to me that was Western RPG, and it was like, it's so loose compared to, JRPGs. Like, you make your own character, but you never see them. You just see your hands, which are only like whatever gloves or gauntlets or whatever you're wearing. And then you just can be anything, and you can just change. Like, you could be a wizard and then be like, I'm going to redo my stats, and now I'm a warrior. And it was like, okay, where am I from? Well, it's like, it doesn't matter where you're from. And it's like, wow, it's loosey goosey, man. Like, it's like, I guess you are always in the same world, and you could like decide to be, you can literally in those games be like, okay, I'm going to join the Wizards Guild, and now I'm going to join the Thieves Guild, and now and you can be like in every guild. It makes no sense to me. Like,
I don't like that.
Your character just has no character.
But I've talked about how I don't like, well, I don't like first person. It's not even that I don't like it. It's that I can't play it. Or it takes a lot. It makes
you sick.
It takes a lot. I have played a good chunk of Fallout 4. I think just because there was like, that was the next big RPG that came out at one point. And so I was determined to play some of it, and Megan bought it. So it was easy. And it had this really great character creation that was very robust. And then you never saw your character, even though I spent so much time making them pretty.
Right. Yeah.
And the world was so ugly. And the plot line, the plot was like kind of over there in the side, and I tried to follow it, but there was so much. I didn't care for it, and then I stopped. Yeah,
there's story stuff in all the Elder Scrolls games, but you have to like really like go after it. You know what I mean? Like, and not get distracted.
Yeah, and
from a zillion things. And then it's really kind of like watching my kids play Minecraft was how that those games like Morrowind, I'm thinking of specifically on the Xbox, or Oblivion, where it was just like the game wasn't even inviting me to do it. I was just like, I wonder if I can get to the top of that mountain through the jankiness of the game. And the answer is always yes.
Yeah.
You can always jank your way anywhere in those games. And it's kind of fun to do that, just to like fuck around. But I don't think it's a story. You know what I mean? And like, is Minecraft an RPG? Like, I don't think so. Like, that's a completely new genre that, even though you have stats in that game and have gear and progression and all of that stuff, I think it's something totally different. And it's not even related to the fact that the story is whatever you're doing in your head. It's like, it's a different thing entirely, I think. Even though there's combat and gear and all of that stuff, I don't think it's an RPG in the same way as the games we've been talking about. So like there's just new stuff out there, you know, like I don't know. I think of like edge cases too. Like I play sports games every once in a while, even though I don't really care about sports in life. But I just try to play everything just to like,
because you like video games.
Because it's interesting, you know, and like, and a lot of this stuff, it comes through the Game Pass system anyway, so there's no risk. Right, you know, I just try it out and then throw it back if I don't like it. And the Madden series of American football had 2 seasons during Madden 18 and 19 where they had a role-playing game in the game. So like you could like do your Madden thing that you do in every Madden game where you like pick a team and then play football for a season, you know, and try and become a champion. Or you could do this role-playing game where you crafted it has to be a boy, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, a high schooler, and, you know, like make them in a character creator and all of that stuff, and then walk them through getting recruited into college and getting recruited from college into the pros, and then, you know, moving from team to team and becoming a Super Bowl champion.
That sounds kind of cool, actually.
That's a cool idea, right? Yeah. Like I want to play, like, that's a cool role-playing game. It's barely a role-playing game, which makes sense because that's like not the thing that they do. But there was like cutscenes and they really kind of tried to do it. And I was like, is this a role-playing game? It kind of felt like one when I tried it. It wasn't a good one, but it felt like the same thing.
So I've never in my life played a sports game. That's antithetical to who I am as a person.
Yeah.
But were I to, I would play one of the Nintendo ones because they do have like story mode.
Mm-hmm.
And also,
what does that mean? Like Switch Sports or something?
No. Like Mario Sports. Sorry. Like Mario
like
Tennis, Mario
Tennis.
Golf.
Okay.
Mario. I know there was like a Mario
They
Golf.
have a story? I did not know that.
Yeah, so
I've never played any of those.
I know there's a Mario Golf game on the DS or the 3DS, I think, where like you just play this random person at like a golf camp. Like maybe you're I don't even know if you're a human. I know almost nothing. But you're playing, and this is the story, you're at golf camp and like you just miss Mario and friends stopping by and they're the best golfers in the whole world and you're so excited. And
right,
you
right.
play through a whole story at golf camp, I guess? I don't know. And I know in the new Mario Tennis that just came out, there's a story mode where you're transformed into like baby Mario. And through, I don't know, tennis, you have to figure out how to get back to being normal Mario. I haven't played it. But were I to, that's the type of thing I would do. And also, when you're playing the sports themselves, there's, you know, the crazy, like, Mario Kart type antics. Like, I know you can shoot mud in the new tennis game, and then your tennis court is covered in mud.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun. I like the arcadey spin on any, like, I'm not a Madden guy because it's too simmy for me. Like, it's too real world. That's like not fun to me.
I will say I don't think that is worth the price point that current Nintendo games are. So I have not played it. But
it does make me think of the Hot Shots series. I think I've talked about that before on the podcast. That's a golf game. And they look kind of like anime characters to me. And each of them is like a character. They have a personality. They have like a reason that they're playing golf because the way that you recruit, like as you go through, you're not just one player. You're building a team and you have like, you know, goals, I guess, that are, it's kind of like Pokemon. It's just, you want to just be the best, but they challenge you because they're like, oh, I heard you have the best team. Well, you've never played against me. I'm a stockbroker and I bring my stockbroker skills to golf and I'm really good at math, blah, blah, blah. And so like, they're like a precision hitter. Like they can really pinhole wherever they want to put the ball. And then you beat that guy. And now you have him in your group and you have like, oh, this is a par 3. So I really want to put my ball in the certain place. So I'm going to pick that guy instead of the one who's like the really big hitter who in his spare time plays baseball and he loves to hit home runs. You know what I mean? Like, so they have stats and they have progression and they have stories, but I don't think of Hot Shots as an RPG at all. Like, it's just not an RPG to me in any way, even though it has all that stuff to it.
Yeah. It's interesting how, like, I agree that everything's made up and nothing matters.
Right.
But it's interesting how we do kind of make these choices that, like, this has all the stuff that makes up an RPG, but it absolutely is not one, and everybody agrees. Mm-hmm. So it's like everything's made up and nothing matters, but we all agree on it.
Yeah. So no, I think that's a real thing. That is like, so since we've been podcasting together for a while, like mm-hmm. We did Measures of Truth, which was about his Dark Materials. Mm-hmm. And around the time that we stopped doing that podcast, I started personally to get interested in a part of academia called genre studies and genre theory.
Right.
Because I always felt like genre is just kind of capitalism marketing bullshit, you know, as in terms of like books and movies and stuff. It's 100%. Just all made up. Yeah. It's just like marketing.
As somebody who worked at a bookstore. Yes, it is just marketing.
And like, where does it come from and stuff? But it is a little bit deeper, I think, in the way that you're saying, because like we do all kind of agree. And I don't think that just purely comes from marketing, or at least I don't anymore. Because like, well, for one thing, the root word in genre is the same root word that's in genetics.
Oh, interesting. It's like, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, like gene, you know, like genre, that's the same word. And the reason that word was chosen in like literary theory for different types of literature was because of the idea that if it's genre, then it self-perpetuates certain structure and tropes. And so like that's what it should do. Like if you're writing in the fantasy genre, it should have these elements and the story should kind of go in a certain way. Or it, you know, if it breaks from that, it's not fantasy.
Right.
Or it's not romance, or it's not whatever.
So I guess there's two different types of genre, which is silly to say. There's like the genre that something actually is, and then there's people using genre for marketing. Yeah.
Yeah, because they want to leverage, oh, do you like this? Then you'll like, then please buy X.
Yeah, exactly. The best or the most popular, from like a bookstore point of view, example of this that I can think of is the Outlander books are time travel romance, right? Which is like a fantasy, but they are shelved in fiction. They are not in the romance section. They are not in the fantasy section. They are in mainstream fiction.
Right. Which is wild.
Yeah. So that.
Because they are like, yeah, they are so romancy. They are so romancy.
Yeah.
And they are not like literary at all because they just don't give a shit about historical facts. And they. Exactly. Not to like criticize, not to be like, and that's why it's bad. Like, it's not bad, but it's like.
Well, it is what it is.
It's
like,
crazy.
Whether or not you like it or not. But that's not the point. I'm just saying, why is it shelved there? And then there's a lot of books that are even more fantasy, but because they kind of appeal to the same crowd as Outlander, or at least that's what marketing has decided, they're also shelved in fiction. I'm mostly thinking of A Discovery of Witches. And
that's really weird.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And that one's like witches and vampires and time travel shelved in fiction. But
And
it's not
vampires
even
are
that
such a big part.
that they think that like it's the fiction buyers who are going to buy that. It's that they don't want to put it in fantasy because especially when Outlander came out, that was all the fantasy bros. You know, women weren't going to go to fantasy. And I'm saying this from a marketing perspective. I'm not saying this from like an actual what was happening, who people are and what people like perspective.
Yeah.
But then
conventional wisdom 25 years ago.
Yeah. But then Outlander also isn't genre romance, right? Like there's a lot of romance in it, but it doesn't have the tropes of romance. So you couldn't put it in the romance section.
Yeah.
So it's in fiction. And anyways,
yeah.
We're so off topic, but it all...
No, not at all. Okay. I don't think so. No. I think it's totally relevant. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is genre theory, does this because Outlander is very genre bendy. And I think that's why its fans are
from a marketing point of view, yes.
Yeah, like crazy and like so into it because there really is nothing else kind of like that.
Yeah. So then once
I think
anyways, my story's done. Sorry.
Well, when that happens in video games, I think what you get is you get stuff like Metroidvanias, you get Souls-likes.
Yes.
Now there's starting to be these things called Hearts-likes that are like Kingdom Hearts.
Wait, I need to know more.
Oh yeah, I'll send you. I just watched a video this morning that was like, here's 15 games coming out. It was like that are all like Kingdom Hearts in different ways. I was like, interesting.
My enjoyment of Kingdom Hearts, sometimes I think it's like a disease. You know, like, are these video games good? I don't think so, but I want more.
I don't know. They just took two things that I really, really love and put them together.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to play that for sure.
I don't even Yeah. I want Kingdom Hearts 4, but Kingdom Hearts 3 was bad.
You just wanted to like go back to what it was. I don't know what Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to be. It looks wildly different.
I know, but I want it so much.
Any of the other stuff. Yeah.
Ugh.
I don't know. So like there are, like Kingdom Hearts is different. That's kind of why I was like, is that an RPG? Because it's like, it's action. It's not turn-based. There are stats and there is like a compelling story and there's character progression and stuff, but there's not like, I don't know.
Well,
it's just weird, right?
A lot of JRPGs these days, I don't know if this is like reflected in their stats in like their numbers, their what's selling, what's not, but a lot of them are incorporating action RPG elements into their turn-based fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe they're trying to slowly move away from turn-based, which would upset me, obviously, but I'm just one person. I don't know if anybody else feels as strongly that chess is better than button bashing.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm not the only person. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I think Expedition 33 proves that there's plenty of people out there who miss the turn-based systems.
Expedition 33 is turn-based, and I did enjoy that, but it's not turn-based like
FF10 and stuff, where you could just kind of not do anything
you just sort
and
of
think about
had
it.
To sit there and think, okay, if this person heals and this person does this, then I can maybe attack with this person and we can make some progress this round and we should all live. Like, that's the shit I enjoy, the figuring it out and, the rounds when only one person can go hack and everybody else is just keeping us alive. I love that shit so much. Oh my God.
Yeah. My favorite for that is still probably Final Fantasy Tactics. Like when I think about turn-based, the very best, the high end, like the high game, like when you're really into it, you're like 40, 50 hours in to Final Fantasy Tactics. It is the best turn-based thing I've ever played because it's like playing chess. You just sitting there like, okay, well, if I do that, then they're going to do this. And then, you're like literally laying traps and like thinking ahead and stuff. Like, it's great. And I've heard a lot of people who play like, real D&D and like, especially like 3.0, 3.5 players. Now we're like really getting in the weeds on D&D, but like they say that Tactics is that system.
Gotcha.
Like in its bones. And like, that is how you take turns in combat is what Tactics is the best version of that ever made in a video game, you know, for in terms of the combat. The story is still absolutely on rails and you can't make choices, but like just turn-based combat, I think that's the best game I've ever played for the exact reason that you're talking about, where you can just sit there and just be like, And that is like, that's a core part of the RPG experience to me. Like that's a really important part of the genre. It feels deep in the RPG, I guess is what I mean, because it has that whole thing where I can sit there and kind of scratch my head and be like, think 5 moves ahead.
Yeah. Whereas in games like The Witcher, if I just go up to something and hit the buttons, and then if I die, I'll be like, well, I'll come back later.
Which
is a shame, because The Witcher has a bunch of stuff that like you can use the systems to like, you can put some oil on your sword or blah, 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 blah. Like there's things you can do to adjust how outcomes will be. But unless I'm like locked into a story point, which has happened to me, oh my God. I don't know how I got out of some stuff, but without it, like going back 10 hours.
I can't speak to the third one, but I played the first 2 and I love the books, and those first 2 games are very much like taking the world and the character and like that's how he does it in the books, you know, like he has to like lay traps and he has to like have the right potion on his sword and, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah.
It does a great job of having you play the role of a Witcher, I guess is what I'm saying.
I've played 2 and 3. I don't remember anything about 2, like gameplay wise. I've only done it the once. But 3 I've played a couple times, and also it's just so big you spend so long in there. And in that one, there's a fair amount of hack and slash, but there's a fair amount of like setting something up to, you know, trap somebody or not just trap, but like get them to appear. And then
you have the right bait.
And then you just like kneel down and wait for them, and they do that very well. Yeah. But I in the normal sort of hack and slash parts of the game, because usually those are all like mission based, like whether it's a side quest or a main quest, you know, the times that you have to very meticulously set a trap are all going to be part of a quest. But you can also just run into things around the world, and those ones are all just hack and slash.
Yeah, I think you could always, in the first and second game, you could always get through, you know, by button mash and be like, no, I'm just swinging my sword and try to get through this. But the game really rewards you for playing it the way that it would go in the book, I guess is what I mean. Like they do a good job of supporting that role playing of a Witcher. That's like where, if you're doing it that way, the game is like, you're hitting 2 times, 5 times harder or whatever to get through the battle. So I guess what I mean is the mechanics are in service of playing a role. Yes. In the case of The Witcher.
All right, so we've talked for like an hour. I think we've gotten nowhere. Do you have a favorite subgenre of RPG? The ARPGs, the JRPGs, the et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, these days it's probably more action RPGs that, you know, are like the Souls. I don't play any of the Souls likes though. Even the ones that are supposed to be really, really good, like Lies of P and things like that. I've never even tried them. Maybe they're great. I'm sure, you know, people love them. So there's something there, I'm sure. But Dark Souls and Elden Ring for me are like, and they're definitely role-playing games in my mind. And the story is just kind of what you make of it. There's definitely stories there with characters and all kinds of stuff. Like you can get married in those games, and you have close relationship with the person who levels you up and all of this stuff. And there's betrayals or not betrayals. You can save people. So it's like, it's very open-ended how the story can go, but there is a story and there's, you know, stats and all that stuff. But at the same time, the fighting itself comes down to me getting good at the game. Not to say the getting good thing. That was an accident. But is, like my personal skill is a factor in defeating the bosses in a way that feels more satisfying than just like grinding my stats up to the point where I can hit harder. I mean, you can do that too in those games, but
having just sort of like reheard you say that, I guess what I like about turn-based is that my personal skill, like my brain skill, is brain skill. Jesus. Anyways, is also what you need.
Strategizing.
Yeah, strategizing to beat that. So I guess they are kind of similar to the Souls-like games that way. While genuinely, I guess you can play a lot of action-based games, more strategizing and skill-based. But for me anyways, 90% of the time it just ends up button mashing. I'm mostly thinking about Final Fantasy 15 there. That was just all button mashing.
It's hard to not panic in certain situations. I mean, Elden Ring is really trying to make you panic all the time.
Right, so, yeah. But the point of that game is to get through that and figure it out.
Yes. Yeah, it's to get to the strategy underneath. You just have to like learn how to be calm when a disaster is happening to you.
But I'm trying to think of... Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of games I think recently that are so focused on making the action smooth that they forget to make it interesting. I'm mostly thinking about Dragon Age Veilguard there.
Yeah.
Because it was very smooth and not easy as in like there was never a challenge, but easy as in like easy to learn, easy to get good at. Not to say that again. But there wasn't much you could experiment with.
Yeah. Especially the way they had it set up where you're always on target.
Yes.
It's just like, man, just the pressure of that. There's like that Souls Arise game that I played last year, and I don't feel like that was much of an RPG, but it did have, progression and stats and all that stuff. But it was just way more of an action game to me. Like it had a story and decent characters, but it was so focused on its action that it just, as compared to like, I'm just comparing it in my head to Dark Souls or whatever. And the feeling of that, like it never felt like I was in a world. It felt like I was playing an action game. I don't know how else to say that. Like the world felt extremely superficial in that Souls Arise game compared to like Dark Souls or Elden Ring, where absolutely everything feels saturated in that world. In your the minor, very small part that you're playing in it. You just feel like it's a real universe, I guess, where everything is unfolding. And in the other game, it just felt like a superficial, gloss to be like in the same way that like Donkey Kong has a story. You know what I mean? Like in a world and all that. It doesn't make any sense. It's just an excuse for the game to happen.
I have a question that has nothing to do with anything, but I'm curious. So everyone is always like, it's more choices with role playing, blah, 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 blah. When was the first time you could play as a girl?
We used to debate if in Final Fantasy 1, if the white mage was a girl. Like a lot of people felt like the white mage was a girl.
That just sounds sexist.
I know. I was, well, the reason is because in that game, halfway through, your characters go from like looking like little kids to looking like adults. Like they go through a progression change. And when the white mage changes, their hood comes down and they have hair all the way down to their ankles, red hair. And so we were all like, well, that's a girl because they have long hair, which is also sexist, I guess. But,
okay. But let me think. I mean, like a main girl, character playing as a girl is your first time.
I have to think about this. Like where you could choose in KOTOR to be a woman.
Okay.
And that might be like the first role-playing game where I could, like, it depends on what you mean. Like You could play as Princess Peach in Super Mario Brothers 2.
I was thinking that too, but like putting that
asking.
aside, because I think we've kind of thought that that's not an RPG.
Yeah. If you're talking about RPG, it might be. I play Elder Scrolls. I think you can be female. Yeah, you can definitely be female in those games. I don't think I was, though, if I'm remembering. I think I was always like a lizard person or a cat person.
Right, but
I was
the option was there. You could still make the choice.
Sure, yeah. So like 2000, 2001, somewhere around there.
Mine was Yuna, Final Fantasy X too.
Yeah, definitely before that. I had, yeah. Because you... Oh, yeah, 10-2. She's the main character. I was going to say, she's kind of the main character in 10, but yeah, she's definitely the main character in 10-2.
Yeah. No, other than a brief story-based thing, you don't get to play as her in 10.
Yeah, per se. Like, in fights and stuff.
Oh, okay, but that's not what I mean.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
and I just,
women were main characters and stuff, but yeah, playing as a woman, it took until 2000s for that to.
And I just think it's funny when you hear a lot of gamer bros upset about choices being taken away or how, it's an RPG, it should be like this and blah, 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 blah. And I'm always just like, did you not play JRPGs as a kid? There are no choices. There are no choices.
There are definitely no gender choices either. Yeah, you're almost always.
I can't think of one earlier than that where I got to play as a girl.
I mean, you start the game in Final Fantasy VI as Terra.
I didn't play that though. So.
Oh yeah. But like, it's the same kind of thing as the other Final Fantasies. You're like not.
It's too bad I didn't know that though. I would have lost my shit.
A person. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for Terra.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you would. I don't know. Because Celis becomes more of a main character, also a woman. Yeah, I guess those are main character women, but the story is so on rails. You also have no choice but to play as Locke at various times and Sabin and, on and on. So like, you're definitely going to, I'm trying to think. I think that party is equally male and female. I think for every boy, there's a girl on that team. Can't remember if that's true. There's a lot of women.
Not where I got to in the game. I got to go back to that, but I think there is just the two women. Yeah,
in the beginning. Yeah. There more get added. I might be totally wrong about that now that I'm really thinking about it. It's funny because like there's like a gender bias thing that I've read before that says like,
oh yeah,
if you bring women up to like 30%, people feel like it's more than half in any situation.
Men feel like it's more than half.
Yeah.
I don't know that women do.
Yeah. Well, no, even women in the survey were like, there's an awful lot of women around here. We're like, they were, so they were like putting women into boardrooms and stuff. Yeah. They were like, too many women. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. I don't know. I think that genres, though, in general, are like kind of vibe based much more than they are hard categories.
100%.
Yeah.
And they change over the years.
Yeah. But I think they have limits to how much they can change too. Like
I guess I meant the way we think about them.
Start to make something new.
Yeah. I meant that the way we think about them changes.
Yeah. Some of that is just getting older and more mature. But at the same time, I think the genres themselves evolve.
I don't think I said I have a favorite subgenre, but classically it is JRPG just because that's how I grew up. But I have in like the past year, I really do like CRPGs because you can do so much with them.
Mm-hmm. Especially the strategizing.
Yeah. Well, not just the strategizing is great. I even kind of enjoy the real time with pause because it's like the stress of action with the strategizing of turn-based, although I do still prefer turn-based. But because they're kind of traditionally, I don't know if lower quality is the word, but they're lower, like they're not trying to make every individual person or whatever look photorealistic. So the game can be bigger. You can do so much with them because they're just not concentrating on certain things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So from a developer standpoint, I like them. I like what you can do with them.
It's almost more indie friendly in some ways too.
Yeah.
For that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, the original KOTOR is that real time with pause. That's the exact gameplay.
Okay, yeah.
Of the thing, because you'd be like, oh, it's my quote unquote turn, and then you can just be like, stop everything.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you to heal. I'm gonna tell you to do this. I'm gonna move you over here, and then now go.
Computer or PC Dragon Age is like Dragon Age Origins is like that also.
Yeah, I wish the console was like that, because it was like, man, sometimes you'd really get jammed up because it was like, no, over here.
Yeah.
Do this. Jesus Christ.
It took me a long time to wrap my head around it, though, when I was playing on console, that you just had to say, like, hit once and they would just keep hitting, and not that I had to keep pushing it, and then I would push it and nothing would happen because they were already doing it. It was so it confounded me.
Well, that was the difference in, playing KOTOR and KOTOR 2 in the lightsaber. You'd be like, it's a lightsaber duel, and you have like no control over it, versus something like The Force Unleashed, where that's like a straight action game. And the way that you're swinging the lightsaber is 100% under your control. And you can like totally miss the other guy's lightsaber in the fight, and that's good because you hit him in the knees and now he's down. You know what I mean? So like that was a completely different gameplay experience, which also I don't think is a role-playing game. It's just a straight action game, The Force Unleashed.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. You can like talk about what genre is all day, and it's almost like somebody else would just come in and disagree, like,
Yeah, we've definitely had a lot of off-branching conversations here, which is fine. I mean, that's why we started the podcast, right? Because we had so much video game talking about to do. We're just trying to give ourselves guidelines.
It's something that I think about a lot, though, now, because it's just something, like I said, I've gotten more interested in.
Right, yeah.
Over the years, like I've actually read like academic books about it and stuff. And I have my own ideas that are outside of that are inspired by it, but that build off of it. And I don't think that video games fit neatly into those ideas. Nobody in that space is really talking about video games, because I think it's only just now starting to mature, like as a medium.
Right.
They were so primitive for so long that only I would say only really in the last 20, maybe 30 years have they started to get to a point where we talk about subgenres and stuff. But the truth is our genres in video games are almost entirely mechanical in their descriptions and have very little to do with the feeling and the vibes of the game as such. And I think that's why recently, like within the last 5 to 10 years, you've had these genres, these weird genres that are taking the names of games and then saying that is a whole genre, Metroidvania and Souls-like and things like that.
Roguelike.
Roguelike, yeah, exactly.
That's true. I also think, but like the fact that in these sort of academia studies and stuff, video games are generally left out until recently, I think a lot of that also has to do with people who grew up playing video games are now adults in academia.
Right, in academia.
And are willing to take them seriously.
Yeah. Well, I think they just saw them as some kind of like crossover of game theory and of computer science. They were like, yeah, you apply game theory to computer science, you get video games. Done. You know what I mean? Like there's not much to say. And it's kind of true if you're talking about games from 1970s and 1980s, because computers just couldn't do a whole lot. But compare that to now, like with virtual reality, and like computers are very, very sophisticated in what they're capable of, and like I think there's just more space to study actual genre as such in video games, but all of our terminology is like, well, is it a first person shooter? Does it have, leveling up mechanics? Then it's an RPG. Is it, but that's not true anymore. Like, it's just not a good enough description. So I don't know if role-playing game, like you said, even anything can be a role-playing game because you're playing a role no matter what you're doing in the game. And so that's not a good description if it describes everything. So it might not be useful anymore as such.
Tagline of the podcast. Maybe our lives. Sorry.
It's an inferior naming convention.
Yeah, exactly. This is what the podcast really should be about. Proving how everything is inferior. And therefore nothing is. But my brain has just decided we need to nap now.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I think we're done. That's why I was trying to wrap it back around.
Yeah, that's good. I'm so tired. Oh, my God. I feel like the finished project won't reflect this because we do editing, but wow, did I have some big yawns throughout this whole thing. 1 hour makes such a difference in your life. Yeesh. All right, so if you want to yell at us about your favorite RPG, what you think makes an RPG, how I was wrong to call Souls-likes JRPGs, or well, specific...
We both did.
Yeah. Specifically Dark Souls and Elden Ring, the ones that are, made in Japan. Mm-hmm. You can reach out to us on Blue Sky at Inferior Gaming, or you can follow me in particular on Blue Sky at Inferior Caitlin.
You can send an email to inferiorgamingpod@gmail.com, or you can send it to hollowedgroundmedia.com. And
remember, Psyduck is life.
It's true.